What's happening, everybody? Jay Shockblast here, and check it out. We are ready for part 6 of the All Characters Unlocked video. Rather than starting over and doing every single character again, I'm going to pick up where we left off, and this is going to be a feature on all of the DLC characters from LEGO Marvel's Avengers. So, as you know, there were 9 DLC packs as part of this. There's actually like 11 DLC packs now that I think about it. As you go through here, you'll notice we have the Spider-Man pack DLC, which is the latest one. The free DLC they added right at the end. You have 2 different Explorer packs. You have the Thunderbolts pack, you have the Civil War pack, you have the Masters of Evil, you have the Captain Marvel, you have the Black Panther, and you have the Doctor Strange and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So we're going to go ahead and show you all of the DLC characters from the game. So let's go ahead and start off with Iron Man. This is Space Iron Man as part of the DLC pack for the Explorer DLC. And he looks pretty cool. He's very different from the other Iron Man in the way that his jetpack looks. He does shoot some stuff. He's got some missiles. He's got a nice little reticle, and he does launch himself into space. So there you go. So that is Space Iron Man from the Explorer DLC. Also in the Explorer DLC, you have Scuba Iron Man, and he flies, but he should also go underwater. Now, there's really not many useful things you can use him for as far as going underwater. He just kind of swims like anybody else. It's not like we have Aquaman or anything like that in this game. He was a Lego minifig in one of the sets, so it does make sense that they would use him. So there you go. There's Scuba Iron Man as part of that DLC. And the last of the first Explorer DLC is Iron Skull. Now, Iron Skull, if you're not familiar, I think it was in the Avengers Assemble cartoon, where he tried to take over Iron Man's body, and he became, in effect, Iron Skull. So he does fly, and he does all the Iron Man tricks. Definitely a really cool character. I love the color red. So I really kind of like this one. I'm not going to lie. It's a really cool figure. So that is Iron Skull. His mortal enemy would be Space Captain America, clearly. So this is Captain America with a rocket pack. And so he could obviously fly. He does all the Captain America stuff like throwing his shield. And he does do the shield where he can protect himself. So that is Space Captain America, also part of one of those sets. And this is Scuba Captain America. He basically has some flippers. He can be very acrobatic. He throws his shield, and he does go into that shield pose. I would go down and show you in the water, but as we know, there's really no point to swimming. So there you go. Next up, we would start... Oh, actually, no. This is the last character, Hyperion. Basically, Marvel's Superman. If you're following in the comics, spoiler alert, if you're not following the comics, spoiler alert, fast forward a few seconds. Hyperion recently, ripped the head off of Namor and killed Namor, which is insane. Definitely... the type of thing that, characters that are not in the game might do, that are maybe not as PG as possible. Wonder who I'm talking about. I love this character. This is a great character. He's got superpower. He can, lock on and do that, which is pretty cool. He does have, heat ray vision. So there's that. He does the clap. So there you go.
Move along. Nothing to see here.
And actually, I think he launches himself.
Superhero.
Boom. Up, and away. And that is Hyperion. So next up, we will go to Atlas, who is part of the Thunderbolt Pack. And he can grow into a big fig. This is a great addition to the game, letting the characters grow like this. So there you go. He does not lock on to anything.
The captain.
And
The captain.
yeah, that's about it. Next up, we have Citizen V, who is a Zemo. I don't remember if it's Helmet or Baron, but Citizen V is a pretty cool character. Yeah, I think it's actually the traditional purple Zemo. So there you go. Really cool look. He's got his sword. He does not do a spin with it. He does not lock on to anything either. So, but still, a really cool looking character. Part of the whole hoax where they created they made it look like they were all superheroes while like the Avengers were gone. And then boom, Masters of Evil. Next up we have Jolt, who, as you would imagine, is an electric character. She does all sorts of electrical stuff, and she can, latch on to things. She does not fly, but she does launch herself into the air. So she must be a super strength type character. So that is Jolt. Next up we have Mach 5, who, I don't know, this is a frustrating character for me. He does the missiles, and he does the lasers, and he can fly. I say he's a frustrating character for me because he looks a lot like Darkhawk. And to me, as you guys know if you follow the channel, I really, really would have loved to have had Darkhawk in the game. But hopefully when they do a Guardians of the Galaxy game, they'll put him in. But he looks just like Darkhawk, so it's like, man, you really didn't have to do all that much to make Darkhawk to put him in the game. But alas, they didn't, and we're moving on to Meteorite. I cannot remember who Meteorite is off the top of my head. She is another character. Or she was another character. Obviously, she can fly. She does like fire-based kind of powers. There you go. Obviously, she can launch herself into the air and come pounding down. So that's Meteorite. This is Songbird. She was Screaming Mimi, I believe. This is honestly one of my favorite characters in the game for the way she looks. Just aesthetically, very pleasing. I'm not even really into the color pink, but it's really a good look. She does some, I think that's electric. And then she flies with her wings, which is really fantastic. So there you go. Whoops. So that's Songbird. She actually became Captain Marvel at one point, I believe, during Dark Reign. Here is Techno. He shoots his electricity. He chucks grenades. Jumps into him. My DualShock is getting low in battery strength. We're going to try to survive. He kind of reminds me of Forge. But yeah, there you go. There's Techno. Next up from the Captain America Civil War DLC, we have Agent 13. No, I do not know when this is going to be on anything other than PlayStation 3. I do apologize. I wish I did. She throws grenades. She shoots her gun. She does not look like she's acrobatic, which she kind of should be. But alas, she's not. So that is Agent 13, aka Captain America's girl. Next up we have Civil War Black Panther. I like this costume, I really do. I mean, he looks cool with a cape and everything, but this is definitely a really cool look. He does launch himself like that. So we'll get some other things to lock onto. So boom. Good enough. Trying to get him into some good light over here. So, obviously he spins, does a little spin attack. Tapping, circle doesn't do anything. And there you go. There is the Black Panther.
Rebuilding this part of this.
Next up we have Captain America Civil War, no helmet. And he does all your Captain America goodies stuff. So, you know, pretty straightforward for him. Next up we have Crossbones. And this is a really cool looking Crossbones. He does his big rocket launcher thing. Or not rocket launcher, but, you know, his gun. So a really cool looking character. Love his look. If you let him kind of stay still a little bit, I think he starts laughing. Or he clenches his fists anyway. So yeah, there's the laugh. Obviously doesn't have his doesn't have his thing like his fist punch, which would have been interesting. But you know, there you go. There is Crossbones. Next up we have Falcon. This is his Civil War costume. No Redbird, but he does have a really cool look when he's in the sky, the way he shoots. But he flies. The backpack is huge comparatively. It doesn't really necessarily need to be that big. So there you go. There's Falcon. You have Mark 46 Iron Man. I mean, it's a pretty cool Iron Man suit. You know, it would have been more interesting if they transformed him the way that it does in the movie, where it kind of like, I don't know, it's all sitting in a watch and it just expands. That would have been pretty cool, but you know, otherwise it's just an Iron Man that doesn't really do much else. Scarlet Witch from Civil War. She does a little protective shield. You know, she does her magic. I love the animation on this. This is a really, really great character, the way that she does her animation. And they finally gave her the option to kind of hover. She doesn't fly, but she does hover. So that's kind of a really cool look for Scarlet Witch. So, next up we have War Machine, who obviously is flying. Looks a little bit different than the other War Machine. The gun's in a different place. He's a little bit darker, a little bit more stealth modey. So yeah. So there you go there. And next up we have Winter Soldier from Civil War. Chucks grenades. Shoots his big old blaster. Does a little fist bunch.
Made my mind up. Today I'm not gonna mess up anything.
Superhero landing, if you will. Terrorizes the people. Burninating the countryside. Burninating the peasants. I really like Sebastian Stan did a great job as Winter Soldier in Civil War. I really liked you know, Bucky, if you will. So, next up we have the Masters of Evil DLC. And here is Baron Zemo. And we'll go ahead and put him side by side with Citizen V. And, you know, they basically do the same thing. You know, with their swords. You know, they even kind of, I think, have the same poses when they get bored.
Certainly made this a memorable holiday.
I would like to be proven not to be wrong. Sir, can you put your sword down and pose? Alright, or you can put it away. So, he does have a gun. So, if you hold down the button, he will shoot. But he defaults to having the sword. And he does do a spin attack. So there you go, Baron Zemo. Next up we have Black Knight Dane Whitman. And He has a pretty cool like attack when he jumps into the sky. He throws down his sword. He has his own horse as well, and when he gets bored, he does some kind of funny things. This is the more current Black Knight, the one that got his comic book canceled. So there you go. Balancing the sword on your helmet will do that. Next up we have Black Knight Nathan Garrett. Now he has a lance, and he spins with his lance. Haha, there you go. It's a pretty cool attack. So he also will get bored and do some funny things. So maybe not balance it on his nose, but I swear he does things when he gets bored that are interesting. I do promise you and swear to you that he does. But alas, we're moving on to Enchantress. Definitely reminds a lot of people of Scarlet Witch in the way she looks. She does kind of the similar powers, although she does not hover. A lot of green in her. Next up we have the Executioner, aka Scourge. And I believe that we just had an actor announced to play him in the movies. And I am drawing a blank on who that was. It was Carl Urban is going to play the Executioner. He's got his trusty axe. So looks like he can pick up some stuff and throw it. So he has super strength, and ta-da. Oh, he throws his axe. Interesting. Let's find something to throw it at. Boom. So there you go. That is Enchantress and Scourge the Executioner. Next up, Masters of Evil, we have Iron Man Classic. I mean, whatever. It's one of the most least interesting Iron Mans in the game. So, what can you do? But there you go. I mean, he's in there. Could have been left out. Melter, who is very cheesy, very 70s. Hasn't gotten that upgrade. Chucks grenades, basically. Can lock onto stuff. It's got that Tom Brady throw. So that's about it. Does explosives. Then we have Radioactive Man, who I think is a fantastic character. I love the way that the energy kind of flows through him. Definitely one of the best, most aesthetically pleasing characters in the game. He's got his green electricity. He shoots that. He does not fly, which, obviously I don't think he actually does anyway. But there you go. Classic Thor, another character. Like, they didn't even give him his helmet. Like, if they gave him his helmet, I think I would have understood it more. But this is one of the ones I probably could have lived without. So, he does all the Thor things, so you get it. Next up, we have Whirlwind. Very underappreciated. I love his claws. I love that he spins. And I think there is something else that he does. Yeah, basically that. I thought that he would basically do that, like, way more. There's a way to do it way more. But I must have been wrong. There you go. If you can lock on to something, he does more. So I really like this character. It's a really cool looking character. And he does some pretty cool, interesting things. So that's Whirlwind. Moving on to our Captain Marvel DLC. We have Captain Marvel herself. There are two versions of Captain Marvel, and we've got her mask on and mask off. Basically does the exact same thing. It's kind of funny to watch them do it in unison. Almost. It's just enough offbeat to, you know, be different. So, also as part of the Captain Marvel DLC, we have Kang the Conqueror, aka Iron Lad. Puts up a force field. And he actually, is what I'm trying to do, has a little electrical surge thingamabobber. So that is Kang the Conqueror. Next up we have Magneton, and I really don't know much about this character, I'm not gonna lie. To me, he seemed like a character we could have lived without, but they made him part of the story, so there you go. Next we have Moonstone, and Moonstone actually, you know, I think I said Songbird became Miss Marvel, and I was wrong. Moonstone is actually the one that became Miss Marvel in Dark Reign. That's why she's in this DLC. So she has similar powers to Carol, obviously.
Please make your way to the scene and help out.
And she can launch herself, which I'm pretty sure Carol can do as well. I just didn't try it. So, so next up we have Pound Cakes, one of many wrestlers in the Captain Marvel story arc. I can't remember what they were called, but I don't know. She does interesting things, so it's not too awful. She can pick up the ground and throw it. And just pressing circle, not even holding it, she does this little somersault slam. So there's Pound Cakes. Next up we have Tick, who I don't even know. There's no point in Tick being in this game. Could have used way more interesting characters, but you know, there she is. Next up we have Warbird of the Shi'ar Empire. So she flies. She shoots lasers out of her face. And there you go, there's Warbird. Last character of this pack is Wonder Man. And I wish he turned purple. He does do purple electricity. He'll lock onto stuff. But he does not turn purple. He does launch himself into the air. And he does fly. Now, a lot of people are going to know who Wonder Man is pretty soon, because he will be played by Nathan Fillion in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, that is. So, Wonder Man, also the brother of Grim Reaper. So next up, we move into Black Panther DLC, Black Knight, Augustine Dulac. Yes, we have a third Black Panther. And there you go. Does the spin attack. Pretty cool look. Can't really complain about him. So, next up we have Black Panther himself. Now, this is his Wakanda look with cape. So, there you go. There is Black Panther. Also, in the Black Panther DLC, you have the Dora Milaje Warrior. who has a staff and is the trusted bodyguard for the Black Panther, because he needs that apparently. That's basically what she does. She is acrobatic. She can throw her staff, and she does damage with her staff. And she looks all badass. Next up, we have Killmonger. Really cool character. Hoping that this is who Michael B. Jordan is going to play. Either him or Manape in the movie. He spins. He can lock onto things with his spear and throw his spear.
I have a job for you, if you're interested.
So, I thought you could lock onto something with him, but alas, no. There is Manape. M'Baku. M'Baku.
Something happened in Washington.
So there we go. We next have Shuri, the sister of Black Panther.
Rebuilding this part of the city's going well. And to think all that sticky backlights, and the tiny pieces of rubble that rain down when it
She's got her spear, and she throws it kind of funny.
Johannesburg damage control range gonna really have a job for you.
And she kind of just keeps throwing it. She does have like this rod that does electricity, which is pretty useful. And did not mean to jump into that car. And that is Shuri. Next up we have Classic Claw, who is also part of the Black Panther DLC. This is who Ulysses Claw ends up becoming. In the comics, he is the one that murdered T'Chaka. And he looks a little bit like Mega Man, So, that's basically it. He doesn't fly or anything like that. But yeah, there you go. The Claw. Next up, we have White Wolf, who is the adoptive brother of the Black Panther. And elder brother, I should say. He is a little bit older than T'Challa. And he's a white guy that his family died in Wakanda. He was adopted by T'Chaka and family. And there you go. So that is White Wolf. So there's Baron Mordo. This is part of the Doctor Strange DLC. And, this is going to be one of our big bad guys in the Doctor Strange movie. I forget who's... I always screw up who's playing him, so I'm not even going to bother telling you who's playing him. I know he has like a kind of funny... Not funny, but he has like an African-style name. And he is being played by a black guy. And, I mean, I guess I always kind of thought of Baron Mordo as being a white character, but he's minor enough to me that I'm just not going to make a stink about it. He also looks like he's a little, I don't know, little darker complexion. So, but yeah, there's Baron Mordo. Sorry, I hate it when I'm like making a video and like something important happens in the middle of the video that I have to like address immediately. So there's Clea. Clea, I believe, lives in the Dark Realm. and is like a lover of Doctor Strange, if I remember correctly. She's got some really awesome, animations. Like that dragon thing that that comes out is really, really cool. There you go. That is awesome. They really did it. Honestly, like, Clea is such a very little known character, and just the job they did on her to make her really feel like an A+ character was really phenomenal, as far as I'm concerned. You know, not really a character you would have thought they would have dedicated all that much time to, but they did, and that's, I think, the type of treatment that that they give, So that is Clea. Moving on to our last row, we have Doctor Strange from all new, all different Doctor Strange. He has his new axe. And he gets the little defense grid that he puts up, which is pretty cool. He does fly. And there you go. That is Doctor Strange. Dr. Voodoo is actually really cool. Like, this is another character they gave really cool treatment to. Because his, like, the soul of his brother comes out and, like, helps him. He does fly. Even though, like when he falls, his brother catches him. Like, how awesome is that? So, and then he flies. But watch this. When he runs, I'll have him run towards us. When he runs, eventually his brother is going to pick him up and carry him, which is really, really cool. Again, another character that's kind of a minor character, not like a huge character, but they treated him like he was a huge character. He did take over as Sorcerer Supreme at one point when Doctor Strange went missing. So there's that. We have Dormammu, who throws like skeletons. Oh wow, danger from. I forgot I didn't get some of these trophies. So yeah, there's Dormammu, and I love that. That's awesome. He does fly, which I don't remember him doing in the last game, but that's really, really cool. And does he grow? He does not grow. Next up, we have Jennifer Kale. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend I know a lot about Jennifer Kale, but she does a lot of the things a lot of the characters do. One thing I want to actually check on with Dormammu, does he launch? No, he doesn't launch. Okay, because that would have been kind of cool. Next up, we have Night Nurse. There are 3 different night nurses. I kind of think this one is somewhat of a take on Claire from Daredevil, even though she's a little bit lighter skinned, but she's got her lunchbox or medical bag, and that is about that. Next up, we start the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. DLC, and this is honestly one of my favorite characters in the DLC. This is Agent Daisy Johnson, aka Sky, aka Quake. She has her gun, but more importantly, she does this. She causes earthquakes, and that causes glass to shatter, which is really awesome. I love this character. That's actually a really great take on Daisy, on Quake. So I want to actually do these in a certain order. So next up we have Cal Johnson, her father, and he actually has a great animation where he turns into Mr. Hyde. And he becomes, a bit of a strong man, if you will. And holding down Y again, and he turns around and he becomes Cal Johnson again. What I love about the Cal Johnson version is that he's very twitchy, you know, which he is in the TV show. You know, very high strung and erratic. So, so yeah, there you go. Also, as part of it, we have Jia Ying, which is Daisy's mother, and you know she doesn't really do. I found out that this is like a healing aura, and she kind of heals herself as part of this, which makes sense considering what she did for the other Inhumans. So let's go back, and we're going to go ahead and pick up with Agent Melinda May, the cavalry, if you will. She does the narration of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. DLC, and she also calls in 2 S.H.I.E.L.D. operatives, which is really cool. Also, we have Agent Koenig, who is Patton Oswalt's character in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And he can go invisible with his umbrella, and he calls in 2 brothers. If you remember correctly, he has brothers in the show that are like twins and triplets, and there's never-ending supply of brothers. So that's interesting. Next up, we have Leo Fitz. Agent Leo Fitz. He attacks with his laptop, and obviously, we need to bring in his better half, Agent Gemma Simmons. Now you get a trophy for them. I think I already got that. But what's really great about these two is if we go ahead and turn back on team-ups, they have their own team-up together. And they both do it depending on who you are. So they have 2 different team-ups. Now, not many of the DLC characters ended up getting their own team-up. So, you know, that's really cool. That they were able to do that. And definitely the best part of the 2 characters. 2 characters that, let's face it, you otherwise probably wouldn't use. So next up, I'm making sure I got everybody. We've got Agent Bobby Morse, a.k.a. Mockingbird. So she does all the same things that Mockingbird does. She has her batons that she can throw. She does the spin move, acrobatic. So there you go, Agent Bobby Morse. No Hunter, no Mac. Very sad about that. We have Deathlock, who's really, really cool. He shoots his missiles. There, locks onto things. Has a death lock. Haha. Hee hee. Ho. He's acrobatic as well. So there's that. So that's Deathlock. Next up we have Gordon, who, I mean, I get why they used him. They used him as a bad guy, per se, in the DLC level. But I would have rather had Mac instead of Gordon, personally. But alas, you know, we got the man with no eyes. Next you have Grant Ward, Hydra Grant Ward, which is, you know, I like his character quite a bit. I've fallen behind a little bit on Season 3, but, you know, Grant Ward is definitely a really good bad guy, that's for sure. I liked him when he was a good guy, too, but, was it Brett Dalton? Really cool actor, I like him. So, he chucks grenades as well. And next you have Lincoln. From one sky bow to another, Lincoln does the electricity, as you would imagine, as he does in the show. So there is Lincoln. And last from this DLC, we have Reyna. And she basically kind of acts as Black Panther. Interestingly enough, she is now playing a character in Preacher, and she also has a character in Warcraft. Moving on next, we have the Ant-Man DLC. This is Scott Lang as Ant-Man, and he grows really tall. And then we have Hank Pym, Ant-Man, and he also grows very tall. So they have awesome suits. I prefer Hank Pym the most, personally. And then he also will shrink to a small level. Now they both do it. They both do the exact same thing. And they have their alter egos. So you can be either Scott Lang or you can be Hank Pym himself. And when you start as those characters, they will put their suits back on. Good old Michael Douglas. Next up we have Anthony, and he is a giant ant who can shrink. Now, a really cool trick is if you can shrink any character in the game by having them ride Anthony and having Anthony shrink. So literally any character you want to make go small, you know, for any reason, you can do it. And it's a cool little thing, you know. So there is Anthony. Really cool that he's a character and not a vehicle. Next up, we have Cassie Lang, the daughter of Scott Lang, and she actually ends up. I forgot what her Stature, I believe, is her name, and she becomes part of the Young Avengers. Then there's Hope Van Dyne, who not very interesting. I mean, she does her kung fu moves, since she, you know, does do that. You know, she's really strong, if you will, in the movie. Then you have Luis, Michael Pena's character. It's fantastic. They got him to voice the DLC, which is amazing. And you know, he does some pretty cool stuff. One of the very few like background movie characters that I actually care about. Like, I could have lived without Hope Van Dyne. I could have lived without Ellen Brandt and all of them. But Luis, give me Luis every day. Next up, we have the Wasp, Janet Van Dyne. And she is basically just a more modern version of the Wasp we've had in the last 2 games. From the movies, basically. So she does all the Wasp things. And now we get down to the nitty gritty. This is Yellow Jacket. Well, first of all, we have Darren Cross. And he will put on his Yellow Jacket costume, which is an awesome animation. I really, really like that. And he flies. He shoots stuff. I just love the animations on his suit. He does also shrink. So, there you go. There is the Wasp. Next up we have Iron Spider. So this is from the new Spider-Man Pack DLC. And he shoots his webs. He web swings. He can wall crawl. All the Spider-Men can wall crawl. So there's that. Oh, and he also shoots lasers. Now, I know a lot of people are disappointed in this one because he doesn't fly outright. But, you know, it is what it is. Next up, we have Ben Reilly, the Scarlet Spider. And he basically does all the things the others can do. He, obviously, all of them can propel themselves up. And, you know, web crawl, all that cool stuff. Next up, we have classic Spider-Man, and he spins a web into Peter Parker. Yeah, Peter Parker. So, I mean, this to me is Spider-Man, you know? So, spins his web back. Then we have the Civil War Spider-Man, which is the Miles Morales variant. An error. Wow. Back. Oh man, I gotta reload the game. This is phenomenal. I was literally 3 characters away from being done, so I apologize. So, sorry guys. We're almost done though. So, Civil War... Civil War Spider-Man is basically the one that we were all shown was being added in. Obviously, they left him out because, you know, the suit wasn't approved when the game came out. So that's the reason we all kind of had to wait for Civil War Spider-Man, or Spider-Man in general. I don't see why they couldn't have just put Spider-Man in the game, the classic Spider-Man, as a holdover. You know, it really would have made a lot of people happy from the get-go. Would have, like, settled a lot of animosity. I feel like for this game more than others, there really was a little bit of animosity because of the lack of Spider-Man and to another extent, Deadpool. So, you know, I guess they could have alleviated that way, but who knows? Who knows what they were thinking? You know, maybe it was Marvel that said to hold it out. I don't know. It certainly wasn't Sony. They had nothing to do with it, because they have no say in the matter. Even after the agreement to get Tom Holland in there as Spider-Man. So, sorry we had to reload the game, guys. And I would have deleted it, but it honestly would have taken an hour to re-render the video that way. So, we're all the way at the end. So, Spider-Man Civil War. Plus, I like showing off when the PlayStation fails, because it is not an Xbox. Haha, you see what I did there? So, boom. Goes right from swinging his webs to crawling on walls. You know, shoots his stuff. Launches himself right into action. So, there we go. That is the Civil War Spider-Man. Next up we have Miles Morales Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man. And what's really cool about Miles is he actually goes invisible. And he spins a web. And there is actually a Miles Morales version in the game. And that is actually an outfit he wears in the comics. So, you know, Miles does all sorts of cool stuff. Just like the other Spider-Man. You know, he propels himself into the air. He can wall climb. And yeah, he goes invisible. That's the really cool thing that he does do. And he shoots his webs. So there's Miles Morales. And last, but certainly not least, we have Spider-Girl, who I think is the one that we're all kind of sad about. I think everybody wanted like the black suit Spider-Man. And this is actually supposed to be Ultimate Spider-Woman, from what everybody has said. I didn't follow the Ultimate comics, but, you know, I wondered why Spider-Woman herself wasn't in the game. But apparently they have a Lego minifigure for this character. She does have a cool move when she gets bored. She kind of like does gymnastics. So, there we go there. And that is it. That is all the characters. And I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see ya.